play the fool. The things you do, I'd never do. There's constantly war.
Hi, my name is Yukio. Welcome to Sports Scenes Weekend Turn Up, sponsored by these guys. So, Yukio is the girl with the soul. I am the girl with the soul. I love to sing. I am music. I sing music. I live music. I breathe music. I sleep music. Everything I do is just music. Grew up being bullied a lot in primary school, and my biggest escape was just singing to myself. I used to love singing to myself. If my mom put me in timeout in a corner, I was in that corner singing jams. If my mom got hurt, I was making up songs about the things that hurt her. If my brother was doing the wrong things, I was singing about that. So that's pretty much who I am. I've always been singing about everything that happens around me. So, like I said, I am music, sing music, live music, breathe music.
With me and I was you, I wonder what you would do.
In terms of my sound, when I started off initially, my sound was inspired by a lot of jazz. I used to listen to jazz a lot with my dad on road trips. So jazz with my dad, gospel with my mom. So my sound was mostly inspired by Michael Bublé because I like to scat a lot. So I do a lot of weird jazzy things with some of my music. So that came from inspirations like Michael Bublé, Natalie Cole, Nat King Cole, Grover Washington. So I really just like jazz, worship music. That's my sound. That's what I gravitate towards the most. But mostly Michael Bublé internationally. And then as I started to get older, I started to listen to more local stuff. And then I just fell in love with Lyra. And then I started to learn from her in terms of writing style. And yeah.
For me, I need something new.
So because music was the one thing that I was always good at, it was the one thing that I knew I always wanted to do. I didn't know that I had the option to do it professionally until I got to high school. And it just became the only thing that I wanted to do. I used to run away from sports events. I wouldn't run for nothing. I wouldn't do anything on the field. Put me in the choir, put me in the drama club, let me run the school's radio station, but don't put me on a sports field. So because I used to like just being part of the arts and being creative, that's when I knew that, you know what, I need to pursue a career in this, but then I needed to choose. And the choice for me was music because it was the thing that made the most sense to me, I think.
Now I know you well, yeah. Overthinking everything, I'm in a mental
So after high school, I got into a band with my best friend, Mark, who passed away a few years back. But I got into a band. We started a band. It was called Mark and Yukio. It was him on the guitar, me on the vocals. And we just started doing small gigs. And then at some point, we got into a bigger band, called Black Suede. So it was him on the guitar. We had a drummer, a pianist, a bassist, a sax player, and then I was there singing. So we started to do a lot of restaurant gigs. And when we started doing restaurant gigs, the next thing we were invited to play at weddings. And then all of a sudden we're playing funerals and unveilings. It was just a lot at once. And then when Mark passed away, I had to continue with the band. So continuing with the band meant building something that goes beyond me, which is what I always wanted to do. I've always wanted to make music that is not just timeless, but also create a space where artists can connect and grow. So that's when I started Musicians Unite. So Musicians Unite was basically like a band. It was everybody who used to play with me and Mark, all of the session musicians. And they would invite other session musicians. So it was never the same band playing for me. So it was always different guys playing all the time. And my brand was getting young guys to learn how to play instruments and just have a good time doing that. So that was my passion for a long time. It still is. I love working with creatives. I love working with new artists, especially young guys, because they really they don't slack on the work. So that was my passion. And then at some point I had to move away from the band thing and try out like studio work. So I started doing studio work, released a couple of house songs. It worked, it didn't work, it worked. And then I did a video of me singing. I did a cover version of Ain't No Sunshine, which is one of my favorite songs. So when we did the Ain't No Sunshine cover, people started to see that. And I think that's when there was a lot of like, okay, who is this? And then I did a collaboration with Zuchi. Thanks to King Bash for that. So when I did the collaboration with Zuchi after that, it was like, oh, okay, who are you? What do you do? Who are you? What do you do? So then I was like, you know what? When I did the house thing, it worked for me, but it didn't really pull in as many people as I thought it would. And I was like, because I really want my music to have an effect on people, I don't just want to have music for fun and for me. I want the music to be for you too. Let's try out different sounds. So then I really just tried to branch out into finding new sounds. And then OT found me, and he produced my latest EP, Find Your Way. And yeah, I think a lot of people connect more to Find Your Way because it's very different for me personally. It's very different because there's so much going on with Find Your Way. There's different types of songs. It starts off really jazzy, then it becomes R&B, then it's a drum and bass, and then it's piano, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? But everybody has a song that they relate to, and that's what I really wanted. So for me, it's always been about, can I heal you through the music? Can I get you to smile? Can I get you to cry? Can I have an impact on you in some way through the music? And not just today, but also in about 5 years when you listen to it, like, oh, I remember the song. So yeah, that's what I really wanted, and that's what I still want. So anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very happy child. Like, I'm always happy. Like, it takes a lot to upset me. So I stay in my happy bubble. I'm always excited about everything. So I used to write a lot of happy, jolly songs, love songs. Like, I'm just always happy. I'm just always, so I was always writing love songs, happy songs. And then somebody said to me, no. Try to reach out to other people's feelings. And I said, oh, okay. So I started to listen to my friends' stories. I started to listen to my sisters. I'd listen to my mom. And I'm like, oh, okay, you guys actually have a lot of stuff to say. And then I would just sit and listen to people's conversations. When people would try to talk to me, I'd be like, okay, let's hear where this is going. And then I'd draw inspiration from other people's lives. Because if I'm just drawing from mine, all you'll get is happy songs. So I really needed to draw inspiration from other people's stories. And then I put myself in that situation, which honestly was very hard. Like, when I wrote Drive is literally just it's not so much a breakup song. It's more of a, I love you and I need you to love me the same way type of song. So I had to put myself in a box, and I was like, okay, the person I love doesn't love me, right? But this is just, just hypothetical. And I had to stay in that box. I remember I stayed in that box for about 3 days so I could be sad enough to sing that song with the right emotion. And I genuinely felt the sadness. And I think at some point, I'm sure my partner was like, and then, Wena, what's going on with you? Why are you sad? Because we're good. I'm like, I know, but I'm trying to write a song here. So let me write and record the song so that when it comes out, everything is genuine. The feelings are genuine. Because it takes a lot to just write a sad song and try to sing it sad. But it's so much more when you write a sad song and you feel the emotions and you give those emotions. When we got to me releasing an EP, I had released enough singles. I was tired of just having single. And I was like, okay, let's try something else. Let's give people more than one track. Because one track gets like 500 people, but we're trying to get more people. So I remember telling a friend of mine, I was like, I'm looking for a producer. And then he connected me with OT. And then OT started sending me beats, and I was like, hey, no, everything is too sad. I was like, I know that I said I want to try something new, but everything is too sad. Do better. And then he's like, okay, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. But when I hear it, I'll know that this is it. And then I remember he sent me the beat for Bad Baddie. And I was like, yes, this is what I want. The funny thing is, when I wrote Bad Baddie, Shem, there is not a single ounce of baddie in me. Bad Baddie actually came from my little sister. She's gonna probably hate me for saying this, but I won't say which one. So none of you know who said what. But Bad Baddie really did come from one of my little sisters. Like, oh, okay. Okay. And the conversation was just so weird. I was like, okay, this is too much. You stop. Let me go write a song. And then I sat down. I was like, okay, let's write a song. And then when I was writing it, I was like, yo, my mom mustn't hear the song, guys. And then I was like, then my dad heard it, and he's like, no, man, that song, the beat, yeah. But those lyrics, where do they come from? He's like, I know you, girl, this is not you. And I'm like, Dad, listen, man, we must just make music. Let me make the music. So every song is really just about, do you connect with it? If you connect with it, yay. If you don't, go to the next one. I'm sure you will. Out of all 6 songs, I'm sure there's one song that everybody connects with.
My fault, I've always seen a better you.
Funny enough, Find Your Way. Find Your Way is the first song and it's the shortest song. And Find Your Way, so when I heard the beat for Find Your Way, I remember sitting in studio and OT started playing the beat, and I was like, oh, this is nice. So I couldn't think of any lyrics, but I decided to come up with a melody. So the way for coming up with the melody, I started singing Rockabye Baby, but I'm like, rockabye baby on the treetop, and when the wind blows the cradle will rock. Then I couldn't remember the last line, so I'm like, it'll lead you home. And then I'm like, I just record it. So then I put on the earphones, I stood by the mic, and I just sang, and the lyrics just was just there. And I was like, okay, this is my song. And I remember I started crying as I was singing it. I was like, yep, if I start crying, it's the one for me. So I was really happy. Find Your Way really does speak to me because I have been trying to find my way for so long, and I think through this EP, I really have found my way.
Don't try to stay, it won't be the same.
I still want to work with Lyra. Like, that one, I don't think that'll ever change. I've always wanted to. I'll always want to, because I think she's just a phenomenal human being. She's a phenomenal artist. I would really love to work with Lyra. I like to venture with different sounds lately. So I would honestly work with anybody. I want to do an Amapiano song. So Maporusa Kabza, call me. Bye girl, call me, you know. Listen, hey, like everybody call me. Like, let's do it. I really would love to jump on a new Amapiano song. Plus, it's already done. I just need, you see, if I send you the vocals, then you just pa 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 pa. Now we can have a single out tomorrow. I really do want to venture into everything. So definitely Amapiano. Obviously, we had the list there. Jazz is still Lyra. I'm not changing my mind about that. I would love to work with Amanda Black, actually. Shoma Josie, strange enough, people think I'm crazy for this because we're very different. We're both Tsonga, yes, but we are very different in our sounds. But I feel like we could complement each other pretty well. So yeah.
Go after you, I hope it happens.
So one of the main reasons why I haven't stopped pushing with my music is because I made a promise to my best friend before he died. And I said to him, we didn't even know that he was going to pass away when we had this conversation. And I was like, if there's one thing that I'll never stop doing is pushing the music. I will always focus on the music. And after I made that promise, when he passed away, I was like, eish, I can't go back on it. And then I remember when my grandfather actually heard my music for the first time before he passed away. He's like, yeah, Juxi, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And when my grandfather gave his approval, I was like, okay, let's do it. Plus, my mom really pushes me a lot. So shout out to my mom for that. My partner pushes me as well. Shout out to you. So like, there's a lot of people who really support me. But the biggest thing is that I can't afford to let myself down. And because music is what I want, music is what I love, I need to do that. And I need to do it to the best of my ability and sometimes even better than that. If there's one person I cannot disappoint, it's the person in the mirror. And I can't afford to disappoint God at all. Because he's like, ma'am, I gave you the talent. Use it. So here I am using it. So thank you, Jesus, for that. Being supported is very important because if you're walking this journey alone, for the most part, there's a lot of things that you'll miss out on. If you walk the journey alone, there's sounds that you'll miss. I started this journey alone and I realized that my first 4 singles all sounded exactly the same because I allowed myself to stay in a box. And when I started to let my friends and my family have an opinion, it started to sound a lot better. The music got better, the lyrics got better, my performances got better, you know. So it helps to have a sounding board. It helps to have people behind you like, listen, we love you, we support you, and we just feel like you could do better here. So that really did help me because I wasn't pushing myself enough. So I'm glad that I have people pushing me. I've had the pleasure of working for the Graham Sound Schools Foundation Festival, something like that, as a music coach because they go into different provinces and they have workshops for grade 11s, teaching them about the art industry and the music industry. So fortunately, I was able to run workshops in Limpopo for 2 years and in Grahamstown as well for 2 years, just teaching about music and the basics of music. But after each of my sessions, I would have a little sit down with the young girls who would come to the festivals, and they would always ask very hard questions. There's some questions that are just really hard to answer, especially about the industry, questions that are hard to answer about life in general. So when that came about, I had the idea to start a foundation called God's Warrior, which I still run. And God's Warrior is basically just me having conversations with young girls about the things that matter most, having conversations about how to grow in life and how to be yourself, how to be fully yourself, and how to not lose yourself when trying to achieve something in life. Because too often we get pulled back into if you want this, you got to do this. If you need this, you got to say this. If you want, there's too much taking and not enough giving. So I sit down with them and teach them how to get what's yours without giving what you don't need to give. The only thing you need to give is your talent and nothing more. So for me, it's always about teaching young girls that, hey, if you have a dream, go after it, but always protect yourself, protect your heart, and stay focused on the goal, nothing else.
Even where you stay, I couldn't love her, no.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my weekend turn up with Sports Scene, sponsored by Adidas. Follow me on Instagram at Yukio Soul, Twitter at Yukio Soul, and you can find all the links to my music in both my bios.
push